In this video, we will talk about conditional activities in Moodle. Conditional activities refer to activities or resources which are accessible by the students only after a set of specified conditions are met. Through conditional activities, teachers have the ability to restrict the availability of any activity or resource according to certain conditions such as days, grade obtained, or completion of an activity. Through this feature, teachers can now structure their students' learning paths based on their performance or participation in an activity. Activities restriction setting is available in all resources and activities settings. For example, for this assignment, click Edit, then Edit Settings. Once you click on Restrict Access, then Add Restriction, you will get this pop-up window where you can choose the restriction you need. These are some of the available restrictions. Activity completion restriction will be active only if you enable it for your course settings. To do this, go to Course Administration. Edit Settings. Go to Completion Tracking. Set completion tracking to Yes. Save changes and go back to the assignment settings. Now you see the activity completion is added. Choose the activity or resource that you would like to force your students to fulfill before they can enter the current activity. For example, I choose this activity. Set a condition. This activity must be marked complete. This activity must not be marked complete. Must be complete with pass grade. Means students must complete the chosen activity and score a pass grade or higher. You will need to specify the pass value in the gradebook for each activity. Must be complete with fail grade. It's the opposite of the previous one. Student must get less than the value in the passing grade. To set a passing grade, go to Course Administration. Go to Grades. Then choose Categories and Items. Click on the editing icon next to the activity. Click Show More. Put a value in grade to pass, for example 10. From date restriction, you can add start and end date and time to restrict your students' access to the activity. You can add it twice to set one as from and the other one as until. In the grade condition, you can set a minimum grade or a maximum grade that student must get in a particular activity to access this activity. Group and grouping are two different restrictions where you can limit the access to the desired activity or resource to particular students who belong to the chosen group or grouping according to your needs. Choose a group to assign this activity to them and choose a grouping. User profile restriction is very useful if you would like to restrict any activity or to particular students or a group of students by their ID, first name, department, or any of these choices, then you can choose if it equals to, contains, doesn't contain, starts with, ends with, and put a value. Or you can choose is empty or is not empty. For example, I want to restrict this activity to students who have a web page. So I choose student must match the following: user profile field, web page is not empty. You can add a restriction set in which you can add different restrictions from the previous ones to be like a group of restrictions. This can be used to create different set of restrictions for the same activity. For example, you can create two sets. The first set uses group and date restriction. Group and date restriction. So students who belong to group A can access the activity after a certain date. The second set uses group and grade restriction. So only students in group B can access the activity, and they also must get 70% or more in quiz 1. We will also choose student must match any of the following. So students can access this activity whether this condition or this is met. Now we will do an example to clarify using conditional activities. In this example, students are required to go through 4 predefined tasks in a precise order. Each activity or resource is accessible depending on the completion of the other. The students have to accomplish some tasks in a sequential manner. Task 1: view a resource about a specific topic. Task 2: post reflection in a forum about the topic. The form is available only if task 1 is completed. Task 3: take a short quiz. The quiz is available only if task 2 is completed. Task 4: view resource that contains either a beginner or advanced topic, depending on the quiz result. Beginner topic is accessible when student gets a failing quiz score. Advanced topic is accessible when student gets a passing quiz score. Students will be able to access task 1, which is introduction file, without any restrictions, while the rest of the activities and resources are grayed out and unavailable for students. These grayed out tasks become only accessible when associated conditions have been met. In task 1 settings, we will set completion condition. Under activity completion, set completion tracking to show activity as complete when conditions are met, and tick require view. These settings are needed because students must view or read the introduction file first before they can access task 2, which is forum 1. In the settings of task 2, which is forum 1, we will go to restrict access, set activity completion as Task 1 Introduction must be marked complete. This means that the forum requires Task 1 to be viewed first, and thus also makes the forum activity to be grayed out and unavailable to students. As Task 3, the quiz requires Task 2 to be completed first before it becomes available, we need to change Task 2 activity completion settings. In completion tracking, we will choose Show Activity as Complete when conditions are met. We will require students to view the form, require students to post, discussion, or reply. Therefore, the forum will not be marked as complete unless students view the forum and post a discussion or reply, which will make him eligible to take quiz 1. First, we will restrict the access to this task by completing the requirements of Task 2. Therefore, we will go to Quiz 1 settings, and then restrict access, set activity completion as Task 2, forum. Forum 1 must be marked complete. This means that the quiz requires Task 2 to be completed first before it becomes available for students. As Task 4 requires Task 3, which is the quiz, to be completed first before it becomes available, we need to change the quiz activity completion settings. In completion tracking, choose Show Activity as Complete when conditions are met, require students view the quiz. The first resource is Internet Security Part 1, and the second one is Internet Security Part 2. Update settings of Internet Security Part 1. Under Restrict Access, set a grade condition as Task 3, Quiz 1 must be at least 0 and less than 50. This means that the resource will be available only if student obtained a score below 50% in the quiz. That is, the teacher intends to give further readings about the topic after getting a failing mark in the quiz. Next, update Internet Security Part 2. Under Restrict Access, set grade condition as Quiz 1 must be at least 50%. This means that the resource will be available only if student obtained a score within the range of 50 to 100 in the quiz. That is, the teacher directs the student to proceed to an advanced topic after passing the quiz. This is how the tasks will appear to students. Introduction is available. Forum 1 is not available unless the activity Introduction is marked complete. Quiz 1 is not available unless the activity Forum 1 is marked complete. Task 4 Internet Security Part 1 not available unless you get a particular score in Task 3 Quiz 1. Internet Security Part 2 is not available unless you achieve a required score in Task 3 Quiz 1.